I am Sonia Wasson, and I work as a compliance specialist in OHA's hospital staffing program. OHA's hospital staffing complaint system is how Oregon's hospital staffing laws, including the updates in 2023's House Bill 2697 and 2025's House Bill 3294, are enforced in Oregon. In this video, we will describe when statutory ratios in ORS 441765 apply to a unit and what types of units can have those statutory ratios applied. In ORS 441765, subsection 1, the term unit for purposes of statutory RN to patient ratios refers to a specific hospital unit as defined by the hospital's CEO or the CEO's designee. OHA does not define units or set staffing ratios. HB 3294 created a specific situation in which the statutory RN to patient ratios are automatically applied. The statutory ratios apply only if the nurse staffing committee has not adopted a nurse staffing plan for a particular unit, and that unit is a unit type listed in ORS 441765. The requirement to comply with the statutory RN to patient ratio remains until the nurse staffing committee adopts a plan for that unit, either through a vote or through binding arbitration. The ratio unit types listed in ORS 441765 are the only units that have statutory RN to patient ratios. The unit types listed in that statute are ED, ICU, labor and delivery, postpartum, antepartum, well baby nursery, mother baby, operating room, oncology, PACU, intermediate care, med surg, cardiac telemetry, and pediatric. Because ORS 441765 has a limited list of unit types, there are other unit types that have no statutory RN to patient ratio. In that situation, OHA has no ratio to enforce, even if the nurse staffing committee has not adopted a nurse staffing plan for the unit. Some of the types of units without statutory ratios are listed in ORS 441766, including psychiatric units and outpatient units covered by the hospital license. ORS 441766 is not an exhaustive list, so there are numerous types of units that are not listed in that statute that may need a nurse staffing plan. Examples of these other units can include inpatient dialysis units and imaging units. OHA has two possible violations related to nurse staffing for a particular shift in a patient care unit. One is if the hospital has an adopted nurse staffing plan, and then OHA can enforce the ratios or minimum numbers in that plan. The staffing plan can incorporate variances at Type A and B hospitals or innovative care models approved as part of the nurse staffing plan. OHA has a short video on enforceable versus unenforceable staffing plan language that is available on the OHA hospital staffing website. In addition, under HB 3294, OHA will be able to enforce the statutory RN to patient ratios in ratio units for which no nurse staffing plan has been adopted. Both of these violation categories are separate from the violation for failure to adopt a hospital-wide nurse staffing plan. For more information about hospital staffing plan requirements and hospital staffing resources such as FAQs, webinars, and hospital staffing shorts, visit the hospital staffing website at www.healthoregon.org/hospital staffing.